Welcome back, my fellow West Ham supporter. Go ahead and drop a like, share this video, and subscribe to our channel. That helps strengthen the claret and blue chain, making our club bigger and stronger every day. Things are heating up behind the scenes at West Ham, and one familiar name has once again found itself in the spotlight: KARREN Brady. An old social media post of hers, dating back to 2013, has resurfaced just days after a tense meeting between the board and the club's fan advisory council. The timing couldn't be worse, because the atmosphere between the supporters and the club's hierarchy is as toxic as ever. West Ham fans have had enough of broken promises, questionable decisions, and the growing feeling that their club is being run with no real connection to those who truly keep it alive, the supporters. In recent months, protests against the board have intensified. Majority owner David Sullivan and Vice Chair KARREN Brady have become the main targets. The demand is straightforward, that both of them step down or at the very least withdraw from the club's daily operations, and it's no exaggeration. There have been boycotts, mass demonstrations, and even a sit-in protest planned for after the match against Newcastle at the London Stadium last Monday. The message could not be clearer. The supporters' patience has run out. This anger hasn't come from nowhere. It's the result of years of unfulfilled promises, a broken relationship between the stands and the boardroom, and a deep sense of betrayal. The recent defeat to Leeds, which almost left West Ham at the bottom of the Premier League, only made things worse. The team avoided rock bottom thanks to Wolves losing 3-2 to Burnley, a temporary relief that hides a much deeper problem behind the scenes. While the team struggles on the pitch, the tension off it keeps growing. Last month, the West Ham United Fan Advisory Board delivered a powerful symbolic blow by publicly voting no confidence in the club's owners. It was a message without filters, a demand for transparency, accountability, and above all, respect for the supporters. The recent meeting with KARREN Brady was the first real test after that declaration. In that meeting, supporters handed over a long list of points that the board needed to address. And it wasn't just talk. They wanted written answers, with deadlines, action plans, and clearly named individuals responsible for implementation. This included 7 unresolved questions from the September meeting and a new one concerning the recent drop in ticket prices for the Brentford match, something that frustrated many loyal season ticket holders who felt undervalued. The Fan Advisory Board's stated goal is actually a noble one: to work together with the club's leadership to ensure West Ham United is well-run, ambitious, and respectful of its fans. But the problem is that this idealistic language hasn't translated into real action for a long time. And that's precisely why the resurfacing of KARREN Brady's 2013 post has caused such a stir. In that post, written back when the club was preparing to leave Upton Park, Brady spoke with enthusiasm about the future. Her words were confident and full of optimism about what the move to the new stadium would represent. Yet now, 12 years later, that optimism feels like a cruel joke. Before we carry on, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. This is really important because it strengthens the claret and blue family, making our West Ham bigger and stronger every day. What makes KARREN Brady's old post resurface so powerfully now is the sheer contrast between the dream that was sold and the reality the supporters live with today. Back in 2013, Brady promised a world-class stadium with 54,000 seats, retractable stands, and a roof that covered them all. It sounded like the dawn of a golden new era for West Ham, a modern leap worthy of a historic East London club. But in practice, it became a mixture of frustration, alienation, and a deep sense of lost identity. When the club left the beloved Upton Park behind, the official message was that the move to the London Stadium would unlock growth. The promise was more supporters, more revenue, more opportunities, and a stage that would place West Ham among the elite. But what followed was a transition that still hasn't healed. Fans who grew up walking to the Boleyn ground feel like the club sold its soul. The new stadium may be modern and visually impressive, but it doesn't have a heartbeat. It's as if the spirit of West Ham stayed behind on Green Street, trapped in the echo of the old terraces. The London Stadium has become the symbol of everything that went wrong with the project. The so-called retractable seating never lived up to its promise. The system is expensive, slow, and has turned into a logistical nightmare. Instead of adapting the stadium for football, the club has had to adapt itself to the stadium. There were even seasons where the team had to play several matches away from home early on because the venue was still being converted after athletics events. And that roof, which was supposed to protect fans from the rain, is now almost a running joke. Supporters in some of the most expensive seats still end up drenched during downpours. There are leaks, there are gaps, and there's a constant sense that the whole project was built on hollow promises. The stadium that was meant to be world-class has instead become a physical reminder of how far from reality those promises were. This is what hurts the most for West Ham fans. The image of an ambitious club leaving behind its past to reach the top has been replaced by the feeling of having been deceived. Many supporters now say they barely recognize their own club. It's as if West Ham has turned into a corporate brand, wearing the badge of a community it no longer understands. That old post from KARREN Brady, which once looked like an innocent, hopeful message, now feels like a confession of everything that went wrong. Today, with the growing unrest among fans and mounting pressure for change, Brady's words from 12 years ago feel utterly disconnected from the reality on the ground. Every protest, every heated meeting between fans and the hierarchy brings her name back to the forefront, not only for what she said back then, but for what she represents now. The stadium should have been a home, but instead it became the stage for division. For many supporters, it stands as the physical embodiment of broken trust. And the strangest part of all is that, even after a decade, no one within the club seems ready to face that truth head-on. Before we carry on, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. This is really important because it strengthens the Claret and Blue family, making our West Ham bigger and stronger every day. Looking back over the last decade, it's impossible to ignore how the move to the London Stadium became the defining wound of West Ham's modern era. And KARREN Brady, the public face of that transition, carries the symbolic weight of everything that went wrong. She always presented herself as a modern executive with vision and business acumen, someone capable of taking the club to a new level. But football doesn't survive on logic and profit alone. Without soul, there's no lasting greatness. And somewhere along the way, in chasing modernity, West Ham lost what made it special, its emotional bond with the community. West Ham supporters are unlike any other in English football. They don't just want entertainment, they want belonging. Their identity comes from generations of families who stood side by side at Upton Park, from the pubs buzzing before kickoff, from songs that echoed through East London. That connection, once unbreakable, has been eroded by years of distant leadership. Every unpopular decision widened the gap between the fans and those in charge. Even during moments of European joy, the distrust never went away. Brady is remembered by many as the person who sold the dream. She proudly spoke of the club of the future, of a model of success, of the modern home of West Ham. But those words lost their meaning when the supporters saw what truly happened. A stadium with no atmosphere, a leadership out of touch, and an identity that slipped through the cracks of corporate ambition. When that old post resurfaced, it felt like a time capsule showing the gap between what was promised and what was delivered. What's ironic is that the London Stadium itself isn't the problem. It's a modern venue, spacious and well-equipped. The issue is what it symbolizes. It stands for the transformation of a people's club into a corporate product. And for a fan base like West Ham's, that's almost unforgivable. The club that once embodied the working-class heart of East London now seems more interested in appealing to tourists than in honoring the locals who built its name. When things go wrong on the pitch, all of that becomes unbearable. Fans can live with change when results justify it, but when defeats pile up, emotions spill over. That's why the anger now isn't just about poor performances, it's about years of broken faith. Brady's old post has become a symbol, a visual reminder of how far the club has drifted from its people. Perhaps the board's biggest mistake was underestimating the power of memory. West Ham isn't just a football club, it's a cultural institution in East London. It represents stories, accents, entire families who grew up sharing one love. In chasing modernization, the club drifted away from its essence. The result is this identity crisis, one that echoes in protests, chants, and growing distrust. Yet despite it all, there's still a quiet hope among the supporters. The hope that the club can one day be guided again by people who understand its soul. That's why the Fan Advisory Board has gathered so much support. It's not just a committee, it's a cry for reconnection. Fans don't want slogans or spin, they want truth, respect, and a genuine relationship with their club. And perhaps that's the biggest challenge facing KARREN Brady now. She must confront the past she helped create. It's not enough to hide behind corporate statements or deleted tweets. The supporters want something real, a change in attitude, an admission of mistakes, and a return to the values that once defined the West Ham way: resilience, honesty, and pride. The stadium may be tied to a 90-year contract, but belonging isn't bound by concrete or lease agreements. With honesty, humility, and dialogue, it's still possible to turn the London Stadium into something more than a monument to broken promises. But for that to happen, the leadership must start listening. And remember that West Ham will never be just a brand. It will always be the voice of its people. That's a wrap for today's update on West Ham. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, share it with other Hammers fans, and subscribe so you're always in the loop. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.